Elevate Your Profits. Co-host Tom Ginn here. I'm bringing in my partner in hosting here, Mark Gassert. And Mark, I'm going to bring you in. And
Hey, what's up, Tom? What's up? How's your Monday been?
Mondays are one of my favorite days of the week.
I call it Magnificent Monday. Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
You know. It's better than what I was doing yesterday, as you know. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't take any in the cup yesterday, did you?
No, I got hit twice, though. Took him in the chest. And other than getting verbally assaulted, I managed to get out of there, after we had 6 games. So pretty intense.
All right. For those who don't know, Mark does this side gig umpiring youth baseball. So he gets a lot of abuse in many different ways. But Mark, what I'd like to do is just sort of give everybody an opportunity to know what Elevate Your Profits is. You and I have come together with a common mission to help anybody that's in business, either somebody that's maybe thinking about going into business, already in business, entrepreneurs. We're bringing people in that have been down the road, have stories to tell, have a success, also failures and wisdom to take to the audience. To just hopefully they'll come away with something special, an idea to propel them for elevating their profits. We talk from the mindset all the way to the bank and everything in between, because there's so many parts to elevate your profits. But it's as much about your mindset as well. So, Mark, any comments you'd like to make?
Well, no, I'm really looking forward to hearing what Preston has to say. I have my questions, and this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm kind of amped up these days. There's some other things you and I are going to talk about, obviously, at the end of this. So, and during this process, I'm really looking forward to how Preston, his approach in the business world, as well as the getting your mind right world up here. So I'm really excited to have him on.
Well, let's quit our chatter and let's bring on the main man. Preston, welcome.
Hello. It is magnificent, magical, amazing Monday. And I love that you're an umpire too, because I assistant coached my son's baseball team.
Oh, cool.
And, I have respect for all the people that do the umpiring and everything. It's hard to do, and sometimes those dads take it really seriously, and they think it's a life or death situation.
We had that, just real quick, and then I'll be quiet. We had that happen last night where someone had to be escorted. It got a little intense, when they're 12 and 13, and I told one of them that. One of the parents that I'm in Georgia. I said, nobody from the Braves, trust me, is here scouting your son. So just relax and let's enjoy the process. It's all for kids.
No, it's very, very true. It's there's a lot I could expound on that, but I agree.
Yeah. It's all good. I'm used to it, man. I can take it.
I know. I love it. But no, we're here to talk about business today. So no, I thank you guys for having me on. Thank you for, letting me be here. And it's so much fun. I love to be able to talk to people who are trying to do business, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are out there on the front line, creating the economy, creating change, creating the market, and being solution solvers, because that's really what an entrepreneur is, I think, in my mind. So I love it.
Wonderful. I had you on my program here on G-Force, and I like to let people know how we connected. It was through our collaboration with Ken Walls. That's how I met with Mark, and that's how we met. You came into one of our training sessions with Mark. I'll let you identify who Mark is. and dropping names here. I'll let you drop the names. And at that point, I knew I wanted to have you on our programs here, just because your experience and you've done some things significant, and you've got some big visions and as well to help people. So that's how we all came together. So it's all yours. So why don't you just share with people, a little bit about yourself, where you live now, a little about your family, and I notice I don't see the picture of your cars back behind you. So
I don't have the cars today. I switch it up sometimes. I've got an Abraham Lincoln quote behind me.
Oh, cool.
The best way to predict your future is to create it, which is basically the foundation of foundation principle of my company, Formula EQ. But I'll get there. We'll get there at the end. Let's start back at the beginning. So my background and what you're talking about, I had a picture of me racing a car up there before, because I am a super car nut, like big time, always have been, loved it ever since I was 2 years old. I'd ride around, on the bump back when kids didn't have to sit in car seats, and I could name every oncoming car. And luckily I survived through that. Now my kids have rode in car seats, but I love cars. I've always had a passion for cars, and I turned that into a business. So I was trying to figure out how to pay for school and how to get through college. And I'd always bought and sold cars to get a cooler car. And then I bought and sold cars to pay for school. And by the time I graduated, I couldn't get a job that paid me more. And basically that evolved into my business career. And so it just blew up from there. But if you follow what you love, if you do what you love, that's what I teach people. That's what everyone needs to do, because we spend so much time as an entrepreneur. We spend so much time in our business. And so, when I teach people, when I coach people now, is I've learned a lot of amazing things going through these journeys I've been through and going through the experiences of building companies, that you got to approach it with your end in mind. Because I did that in my car business. I built a great, successful car company, but then I pinched myself out of it. I was working like crazy. I didn't design the company out to put my lifestyle in it. So that's one thing that I tell people now is, think ahead and look at that. But so what I did is I graduated from college, and so I started car dealerships. I was buying and selling cars, and it just grew from there. It snowballed. And I kept reinvesting in myself, and I ended up owning and co-owning 15 different car dealerships, and then different verticals from that. So I had finance companies, paint shops, mechanic shops, and all the things that help support the company. And so that journey along that way, that entrepreneurial journey, really I had to dive in and learn. I was dumb enough to do it by myself and not get mentors and coaches. So if you want to speed things up, if you don't want to take 20 years to learn what I learned, go find a good coach, go find good mentors, and support yourself with people all the way around you. But I went through it, I did it, and did it the hard way, and I put all these tools together that basically built me up to be where I could be today and to do what I could do today. And so I'll connect a little bit here. So I had a company called Car Finder. That was one of my car dealerships. Had independently demographically targeted dealerships.
Right.
And so we'd go after people, and I had high-end clients. And one of my high-end clients was a guy who Tom name dropped here in the beginning of the conversation. It's Mark Victor Hansen, the other Mark. We've got Mark here, but Mark Victor Hansen. So for those of you who don't know, Mark Victor Hansen is the author of Chicken Soul, Soup for the Soul books, and tons of other books like Aladdin Factor, One in a Millionaire, Richest Kids in America, and all these different things. Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny, which is his newest book. But anyway, he was a client of mine, and I actually have, my first business transaction with Mark, he was trying to get rid of a car, and so I had these clients I'd buy and sell cars for. And so, he was one of my clients, so I bought and sold his car. So he had a Lexus that I took on trade, and I bought him a newer Lexus. But this was actually his license plate from that car, from our very first business transaction together. I go, oh, wow, I'm selling a car to a celebrity. This is cool. And he's got a cool license plate. I'm going to keep it. And so I did. So I still have this today, which is interesting. And I think I might have mentioned that with you, Tom, last time, but I thought I would show that because I had it, so it was fun, but more joy. But what's amazing is it's like that law of attraction. You know, the things that you create in your life, you manifest your destiny, and you know, all these things looking back at now manifested into where my life is today. It's this incredible journey. So moving on from that, my mother actually married Mark, and so Mark is now my stepfather. So my mother is Crystal Hansen, and my father-in-law is Mark Victor Hansen. And so I was working my car business, and you know, Mark had sold Chicken Soup for the Soul in 2008 for a lot of money, and he had always wanted to make the world better. He'd always wanted to do what his mentor, Dr. Buckminster Fuller, did, and you know, make the world better. And so he wanted to invest in renewable energy technologies. It was always a dream of his, a goal of his to do that. And so he came to me and saw what I had done in the car business and said, "Hey, will you help me to do a startup?" So that was my transition out of the car business, which you know, I'm so thankful for, because I love cars, but the margins have gone out of cars. The car business is so different. I went from having a world where you take a piece of paper and you write your phone number and your that price and stick it in the window of the car and park it in the busiest corner you can find, to having every single person in the country show up with every phone in their pocket, or every car in their pocket, with the history report and the book values of every single car in the whole country. And so it ate the margins out of business, changed the whole dynamics of things, and anyway, makes it a lot tougher for the capital investment. So I'm happy I got out of it. But started my journey with Mark, and then since then, yeah, I mean, it's just been an explosion of life, like Mark creates with pretty much everything that he does. So I've just been like hanging on, you know, to the kite, trying to keep it connected to the ground and to make all these amazing visions and dreams happen on the world. So I ran operations for basically, I did a good job doing that project with him, and so I basically ran operations for almost everything he's done since, which has kind of led to, you know, I'm like an outsourced back-end company with my company Operations X, because I've always been a solutions guy. That's how we need to approach things as business owners or entrepreneurs. You know, you have to be solution oriented with your product and find that space where people need you, instead of just selling something that you go, "Oh, this is a good idea, sell it." No, you got to find, you know, a place that people need that in their life and go, "Oh, here, I can put that in there. I can fix that for you." So that's the way that people need to do things and build towards. But anyway, so transition to that, did the energy company, went through hundreds of startups to help companies launch into investments, you know, to bring companies to market, and you know, do all these amazing projects. I've done speaking events with Mark, and side by side now we've built out training programs together, and all that has led me to now my project where I'm taking all my training, all my life training, and I've got to I look at myself as being that next kind of generation of Mark's legacy and the Zig Ziglars and all these incredible, you know, people that have changed the world. And someone's kind of got to do that and step up to do that. So I'm starting to try to do that. And I built a community called formulaeq.com, where I'm training people to live in a positive mindset all the time, because I believe that's the foundation of everything. That's the kind of, you know, the core of it all. And I don't know how long you want me to rant on without, you know, having any questions or anything.
I know I got a comment I'd like to make, and Mike, I know Mark's got some questions too here. So
yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to your Formula EQ session last week. Really enjoyed that. You guys are going to be doing some good work. I'll just put that out there. You're hitting what people need to know. I love the topic you talked about, self-love. And, you know, if we can't love ourselves, how's the world going to love what we do? So that was a very powerful session. I just want to say thank you for that. But when you started out, you know, you talked about you went as a kid. I remember we talking to you, you talking about as a kid with cars, and that was your passion and love.
Mm-hmm.
You designed a company or companies or businesses, and you made a very important statement. And I think people need to hear this. If you're in business or looking to create a business, you didn't design the business around your lifestyle and how you wanted to live that
Yep.
personal side. Is that did I
Yeah.
hear that right?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right, and it's so important, and that's something I've learned later on in my entrepreneurial journey, because I look at these mega successful people. Because first of all, you need to surround yourself by people that are living the way you want to be like, and so that's why all these communities around like-minded people and things like that are so positive, and groups and listening to content and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you build all that and build all that support up around you, because you become those people. You really do become those people, and you've got to get your life structured so that you can do that. And if you look at how the people that are really, really successful live their life, you can't everyone's got the same 24 hours a day. You only have so much time that you can deal with a day. And so if you want to make, say, some crazy goal, like I was looking at a company, so we did some things with a company called Caterpillar, the big yellow company, and they do like $63 billion a year. So I go, okay, how do I do that? How do I make $63 billion a year? And so, my approach is, okay, I haven't figured out how to do it yet on the ground, to be clear. But but to get there though, you got to know what that is, what that means. And so I go, okay, and this is going back, this is like 2 years ago I went through this, so I don't know if my math's right, but I think it was, you have to make, you have to do 8 transactions an hour, 24 hours a day, that are $800 transactions. So it's like, okay, that's like easier to understand. I don't know how, like, building a $63 billion company is like a kind of this esoteric, collage of something that doesn't really mean anything. But if I can build a product someone will buy 8 times an hour, 24 hours a day at $800 a charge, I can build a $63 billion a year company. And then I can figure it out. And so, but then, then it goes time. It goes that life design, okay, I can't charge, if I charge at whatever you're worth an hour, then your hours are only so much. So then you have to pivot your mindset. Okay, how do you get from hourly to beyond what your hourly is? And it's value. You have to sell value. If you can transition from hourly to value, then you can expand your growth and you can multiply your growth. That's why I did Operations X. My company, the X, is a multiplier, to multiply your company, because you have to think in multiples instead of linear if you really want to create massive growth. And so that's why, we talked about this before, but outsourcing. I'm a big advocate of outsourcing, taking off things that you don't like to do or don't want to do or shouldn't be doing, and pushing them out to another team. And I've done that actually since 2010. In my companies, I've worked in the Philippines. I was really progressive in the car business doing that. And that's why I was able to crush all my competition, because we'd post an extra 300 ads a night before everyone had all this AI and all these things. And so then the customers would just pump in to my doors the next morning, and my competitors weren't doing that. And so I just did, and too many people are trying to copycat. Everything's changing super fast right now. And I think you've got to find your groove, and you've got to find your niche and just go with it. Because if you're copying people that did something good last year, you're behind, kind of. You've got to kind of create your space, where you are, and look at what we can do. I think, all the avenues of social media and things like that have changed or they're evolving right now a lot. And, that's a big part of company and business and interactions today. So it all kind of fits together. But anyway, I got off on a bunny trail there.
You're doing fine, Preston, because what you're saying, if people need to hear, you made a very change. Has happened rapidly.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to copy somebody that did something last year, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? Is that what?
Yeah, because and I have clients. I mean, even I deal with a lot of clients, of really high-end, big clients, millionaires, billionaires, stuff, and they come to me and they go, "Oh, I want to do this," and they go, "Oh, I've got this idea. I'm in the do it and launch it like this guy did. And it's like, well, okay, but like they did that's tired now. You got to do like the next version of it. If you really want to be, like that, there's, like leading it, like on the front of things, to be, someone that's really getting out in front of your competitors, getting out in front of, everyone that's out there, because that's the tough part right now is that everyone's hit the market online, right? If they weren't online, whatever, everything you did and all your competitors did just went online. And so how do you differentiate yourself from other people? How do you differentiate yourself from other markets? And I think the key to the future of, if you look at the trends of the past and what happened last year, and if you want to get ahead in business this year and connect to your audience and grow your company, authenticity is the key to everything. It should be in your marketing. It should be in your business plan. It should be in branding. It should be in everything that you do and incorporate and say in business for 2021, because that's what people want. That's what people are craving. And that's what, people are going to connect to. So if you have a service or something, or brand or product or whatever it is, you've got to be able to display that authentically to your customer base to get that through, so that you can grow your company and really, do what your potential is.
Thanks much. There's so much nuggets in what you're sharing there. I just want to let you know. I know it looks like Mark's got some questions here, but I want to acknowledge our audience. Thanks, Ted, for being on, and Hermelio and Robert and Ted, and Doug Kuzman.
Froggy News, man.
Froggy News. Here's a guy that's taken the Ken Wall's program, state of the art, in 3 straight months. Last night, he had 13,000 on his live stream.
Nice.
13,000.
That's totally dope, Doug. Man.
So, hey, Doug, push us out, will you, tonight? We need at least 13,000
yeah.
views.
Feel free to share this out, Doug, as an extension of Froggy News, what people should be doing out there.
Yeah, this is family. This is sort of the group we hang with, and we're supporting each other. And I think that's important, what you said too. But I'm going to turn it over to Mark. We're having this is a good, fun conversation going on here.
Man, I don't know where to start, but first of all, what you're talking about is not a Vulcan mind meld or a Jedi Knight approach. May the Force be with you, right? But there is some truth in all that for you Star Trekkies. I'm dating myself, or even Star Wars. When you talk to people about getting the mind right, and I'm reading a book. I'm not going to get into it, but he talks about this very same thing, about how you program yourself, and you've got to be a warrior, that warrior mentality, and you got to embrace it and then run with it. And you got to stop worrying about what other people are thinking. And that's where I think that authenticity comes in. Yeah. I sell sales training on a corporate level. So I call up VPs and all the XYZs and all these other guys. And Tom and I had a little conversation today. I was a little amped up. I didn't even have my second cup of coffee. But it's fun to have fun with people when I ask them, so how are you going to get to the next level? What's that looking like for you? And, they're like, what are you asking me? Well, you told me you don't need this. So what's your program? Can you share it with me? And it's kind of fun and I don't mean to put people on the spot, but it's just kind of fun to do that. And I ask myself, am I being authentic? Am I coming across with trust, help, and care? Can people feel that when they communicate with me like this meeting right here? And I think that's important, because people can find out if you're really a phony or not. Believe me, though.
Oh, yeah.
And, you mentioned about umpiring. I mean, you want to get authentic. It doesn't get any more authentic than that, man. You take a lot of abuse physically as well as mentally, emotionally, and you got to learn to roll with it. You can't let things bother you back here.
Yep. No, absolutely. So that's it. That's everything I believe in. That's everything I teach. That's everything I talk about. That's the core of it all. And it all comes back to mindset. It all comes back to approach and how you do it, because this is my belief. This is my belief down to the core, that every single thing we do is based off the foundation of us. It's based off the foundation of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself physically, mentally, in every single way, and like I did in the lesson last week, to love yourself so deeply that you can't, then it stops you. Then it's actually a reservation and a block, and people actually get scared of that word love, to say, oh, I love myself. And when people think that, things come up in their mind, and they think, well, oh, I'm not this, I'm not that, oh, I did this, bad thing. Or, we have these blocks that we put up. And it's the same thing like you're saying in sales. I was in the car business, so I was in the guerrilla warfare of sales. I taught sales training to a team of my about 50 or so sales people every single week for like 6 years. And I eat, breathe, and sleep sales. I actually think life is sales. That's my perspective. I think the way that we show up, the way you look, the way you pick your shirt and do your hair, and the background, and the way you speak and what you talk about, everything is sales. You're selling you, you're selling yourself, you're selling your product, you're selling all those things. But going back to the mindset, it's so critical, because we have these things come at us. Like if we're CEOs, or if we're business people, or if we're just a dad or a friend, or a umpire at a baseball game, someone gets mad at you, someone throws something at you, someone gets pissed off, someone says something that
Sure.
gets, under your skin. And this is what I teach, is that time frame where you're angry, where you're sad, where you're mad, where you're upset, where you're off. That time is the time where you're not 100% yourself, where you're not your high performer.
Right.
You might be way off depending on who you are. But, that dad was probably in that situation, that was way off, because something happened. But really, this is where I teach, and this is where it all comes back to, is that when that happens, I want people to be strong. I want people to be powerful. I want people to be powerful from their foundation, because if someone says something to you that throws you off, that makes you angry, you're giving your power to that person. So think about that. So,
right.
So if you're sitting there and someone comes at you, a guy cuts you off, you're on your commute home, and the guy cuts you off, and you go, you're mad. You're actually giving your power to that person, because they're the one making you mad.
Right.
But it's something that you're the only one that actually has control of it. And people have such a hard time dealing with that. And I mean, in every single aspect of life. And it comes down to a super, super simple idea like that. But it's in every single space. It's in everything we do. It's in business. It's in life. It's in our relationships.
Right.
It's in all those things where, like, your business, if you had a business last year that was impacted by COVID, if that shut you down as a person, if that set you back as a person, if that made you depressed as a person, you are giving your power away to COVID. You're giving your business power away. And it's not that COVID's not real. It's not that those problems aren't real, but that by doing that, it takes away your ability to do something about it. It takes your ability away to pivot. It takes your ability away to get back up. It takes your ability away to get help, go find a solution, get financing, bridge it, do whatever you can do to just act and do something. Because in life, all we can do is what we can actually do right now, what we can do today. And all the things that come from fears of the future, things that are going to happen, or fears of the past, things that did happen, aren't really actually happening right now, and let's pray them to happen. And so my whole goal of everyone is to learn how to to massively control your power, to put your power back in your life in every single way, in your business, in your life, in your relationships, in every single aspect of it. Live as a powerful person and have that control in your life so that you can choose to feel happy. You can choose joy. You can choose love. You can choose whatever it is you want, so that when you show up at work, no one can stop you. No one can touch you. And it's funny because I was talking about this the other day, and I said I was in a group and someone said something that offended someone, and I won't say what it is, but I saw in the chat like 2 people got offended, and I know the people, and so I messaged them and I said, hey, kind of talk to me. I think you're kind of getting a loss of power because this happened. And I had someone pop back to me and they go, oh, how rude, you say, oh, loss of power, you're not standing up for people. And I go, no, it's not about that at all. It's not about standing up for people. People need to realize that the power is already there. The power is in themselves. They have it. They've got it, and they control it in every single aspect of your life. And that comes into business. That comes into how we show up and how we do our business every single day. So it's so important. It's the foundation of every single thing.
That's a great point. And all I will tell you is our tournament director was behind there because the last kid at bat, he went down looking. So, I wasn't popular. And during the course of the game, I got the coaches. I said, hey, guys, remember our plate meeting? You set the tone, you set the standard, and these are, 11-year-olds, and you control your fan base. So let's keep it in check. And I said, enjoy the process. And the one guy looked at me and said, the coach, you think this is funny? I said, no, I'm just enjoying the process. I said, my boys went through this, and my oldest played college baseball. I said, hey, it's just a game. Have fun with it, And I think if you approach things that way, Preston, and that's kind of been, I've kind of stepped up more about just having fun with dealing with people and even my coworkers, and they're like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, man, lighten up. And we had a guest last week that made a great point, and I loved it when he said, it's okay to disagree. We do live in a free country or republic yet, so they say. And what I'm saying is we can have dialogue and disagree, but that doesn't mean you become hostile towards one another, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever the case may be. You have to respect the other person's point of view. And I think we're getting away from that sometimes. I'm not saying everybody, but there are some that if you're not this or that, they don't want to deal with it. And it's kind of scary, when I think about it, because I've got young boys. I've got one that's married now and another one that's 19, soon to be 20. And it's difficult to raise boys into men in today's world.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I've got 6-year-old twins and a 9-year-old, boy-girl twins. And, I look at, all the confusion that's out there. And the issue to me is that people are so focused on the differences, and if you're focused on the differences, you're going to drive the topic apart. It doesn't matter what the topic is. People, whatever, anything, opinions, you focus on the differences, you're going to drive they're going to push away from each other. If you focus on the similarities, people come together, people unite. That's like the whole thing I'm trying to do with my Formula EQ, because I actually have a global audience. So we get about like sometimes 20 countries or something in meeting. And so I have my own beliefs. I have my own religious beliefs. I have my own political beliefs. I have those, but I bring it to a platform where we can all connect as humans, and we can all connect on a level that's the same, because actually when you peel everything back, it all comes down to these base things, and we put extra names on them, but we have all these feelings of loss or sadness or anger or happiness or joy or success. All those things are common in the human experience. What causes them is individual in the person's life, and the person chooses that. And that's what you're saying is now you're choosing fun in work, which like people don't realize, I gotta go work, but it's like, no, like you can literally just choose work is fun and show up, and it's actually fun. And then your coworkers see it, and then you're like, he's having fun, I can have fun too.
Yeah.
And it's infectious if you can do that. And that's where the energy comes from. That's where the mindset comes from, and the growth comes from around everyone that you're with. Because we're actually, so I ran an energy company, and our bodies are actual like energy factories. We literally, like, we take, drink, we consume, fuel, produce energy, and we create energy, and we run until we die. And but that energy is actually, it doesn't, like, this skin doesn't just keep the energy in here, like it's around me, so there's a field, it's measurable, and the positive and negative energy that we create affect the people around us. This is the actual science. Won't get into it on the show or anything to go too deep, but it's true. I've done some simple things to kind of prove this, but there's more technical things from smart people that actually are scientists that have proven this too. But it's that force of energy that's around you, what we create, and that's how we make change. That's how we make change with the people that we show up with your customers, whatever it is in your business. I mean, this is it. You want to elevate your profits, show up as an amazing person to your customers. We all know that restaurant that we've been to where we go, man, that guy that runs that shop, I don't even feel like that food today, but I freaking love him, so I'm going to go grab my lunch from that guy. Whatever restaurant, whatever business, whatever it is, replace the guy in the industry, and you've got that person in your life. And if you can show up as that person, you can be that person in your business is going to elevate. Your business is going to grow.
That's a great point. The other thing, and then I'll let Tom take over here. I love when you said you don't have to be a Buddhist monk. You don't have to be a nun with 40 years of devotion, and you don't have to be an academic. And that's the whole thing. Jeffrey Gitomer talked about this, about read, write, implement, and follow through on that. And, it's important to get some quiet time. I've been doing more of that, and you just sit down and I don't veg out, but sometimes my wife will ask me what I'm doing. And I said, I'm just writing and thinking about things. And she's like, okay. She's a teacher, so she's usually off, and she's like, okay, but I'm okay. I just got to get things right. And, like what happened last night for me is a learning situation. There are things I could do better. I'm very critical of myself and next time what I would do. And my tournaments director said I did a fantastic job diffusing everything, but there's always something you could do better, because it was getting close to getting into fisticuffs with the two fan base. So, you don't need dads fighting dads out there at 11-year-old.
I love it too. Whoever that was in the comments that just said observe, that's like what you're talking about. It's that time. Right. And I did Robert. Hey, Robert, thank you. Yeah. And, I did a program with a guy named Freddie Ravel, who's like a keyboardist for Santana and Earth, Wind and Fire, a bunch of shows. He's amazing, but he has this training, and we built this training, and the whole training is called the space. Well, he has this whole thought process. It's the space between the notes. And that's what makes music amazing. Yeah. It's not the noise. It's not all the, everyone can make all the sounds, but it's that pause, and that pause creates a feeling. It allows you to be able to stop. It allows you to be able to think. It allows you to be able to experience. And, so that's what you're saying, like, having that personal time too. It's like getting that space between the notes, space between the noise, in the day, to kind of recenter and to focus and to slow down for just a second and think. Because when we do that, when we allow ourselves to do that, we become, it helps us clarify everything we do. And if you look at success, or if you look at habits of a lot of high performers, and I try and incorporate this in my life as well. I take the time in the morning. So I try and do the whole circadian rhythm thing, and I live as much life as I can in the sunlight is my goal. And so, I wake up like normally like about 5 or 5:30 in the morning, and then I have like my routine in the morning, and I have that time, and that time in the morning so important to the success of my day, because normally, the person that hasn't develop that space in their life feels this anxiety and that pressure to go and do. Oh, I've got to get too much done today. I don't have time for that. I've got to do this, and I don't have time for that. I can't meditate. I can't exercise. I can't do, whatever, because I've got to go get this project done. But when we find the space to clear our own mind and to reset and to reprogram our own lives, to find that space between the nodes and observe, like our friend said, we can recenter and we'll be more productive. We can access that flow, that worker zone, that you get in where you're a high producer instead of sitting there, punching keys all day behind the computer, going, when's lunch? So it helps you to access that and achieve that and get in the zone and really function.
Myself being a personal development coach, some of the people that I've been trained with and energy, people say, I haven't got the energy. Well, you can be physically tired. That's different than lack of energy.
Yeah.
And my mentor, Bob Proctor, says you can create energy instantaneously. He's 86 years old. He's got more energy than we can combine our energy. He's still got more energy in all of us right here. And that's important to know in that we are in control of that energy, but we got to learn how to do that. That's not a process that we innately know how to do. Some people are unconscious competence can do it, but I think what you said there in here, this is one of my principles: be still and know, be quiet, because that's a place that you can center, get rid of the chatter. You can actually, in the busiest of an office, if you learn how to do it, you can be in a zone for 3 minutes and no one would ever know that you're in a zone.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you're recharged and you just keep pushing through your whatever's in front of you, right? So you can control your energy.
Yeah, no, like I'll do it, I'll take little walks, around the block, a couple times a day. Now that 5 minutes or whatever, of me walking around the block, it does not affect my productiveness at all. But it doesn't take away from me being productive, but it allows me to reset. It allows me to kind of have a space. It allows me to, kind of get a break or whatever, and then go get some vitamin D and get like some air, these things. But it's like what you're saying too. That's actually why I designed this whole thing as a community, because my mantra is relentless improvement. I think that we always need to be learning. I think everything's constantly evolving. We talked about how the world's changing, and it's my opinion and perspective of it that everything's changing constantly around us. So if we're not changing, with it, and we're not adapting, then it's moving past us. It's getting past us, and staying in that mindset, staying in that positive state, is something that is a practice. It's actually a lifestyle, because I live it every day. Like I live it every second, because I am trying to. So I don't allow anger in my life. I don't allow, sadness in my life. I don't allow frustration in my life. And the second it tries to enter in my life, I remove it, because I have developed that skill. But it's that constant work to be able to be aware of it, to be able to stay on track with it. And so that's why I built the community where I get together every single week. We do a lesson every single week. We do it on Friday at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time. So wherever you are, it's global. So my partner's in London, so it's 4 o'clock his time, p.m. And we do a little lesson. We do a little breathing exercise. But I want to create that space where entrepreneurs or people can come and they can slow down for just an hour out of their week. They can connect with people on a deeper level than they ever connect with in a work environment. And then they can also have a community, because I think coming into the future, I think communities are super important. I think communities are going to be kind of the the basis of what we do business as these platforms evolve and as technology evolves and the world grows into a global community. how you're going to find the people that you connect with or the communities that you're involved with. And so that's what it's all about, is creating lasting change, because I'm here to change people's lives. I'm here to make a difference. This isn't a fuzzy thing that I want people to show up to, get a good feeling, and then leave. Like, I want people to live this and change their life so that they're so freaking happy that everyone they see goes, what happened to you? You know, what's different about you? But the people, it's happening, which is amazing. I see it happen. Like, I have one of my clients who got off prescription drugs. He's been on for over 30 years because of anxiety. And he's been able to find this calmness and remove some of the things that he had in his life. And I've done private sessions with him outside of the community, but it's the principles that we teach in the community that are the same ideas. But he's actually been able to go off of the prescription. He's been on for 30 years. And, you know, his wife is happier. His kids are loving him more. And his business is taking off. Like, all the pieces start to fit now. And it's like, well, why, you know, how do you explain that? And it's like, well, it comes down to the foundation. That's it. The foundation's right. You go. And it's just that little bit of difference. You look at, like, the wealth, it's like a 2%, you know, margin of people that make it amazing, you know, versus normal on almost everything. You know, if you look at sports, if you look at money, if you look at businesses. And so it's the people that are, you know, willing to just do that 2% difference. Just live a little bit, just a little bit more than everyone else is doing. And that's it.
Very good. I think, you know, last night my partner kept asking me, aren't you tired? Because we did 6 games. So I will tell you, we started 8:30 a.m. We finished at 9:30 p.m.
Wow.
I didn't get home till about 10:30, and yeah, I was a little tired at the end of it, but during the whole process, I wasn't even thinking about it, because you can't. And, you know, I was just like focused, and he just kept looking at me. He said, what do you, because I did the last 3 plates. So each game's an hour 40. So you got to like program your brain I just tricked myself into like, hey, you know, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to have a great attitude out here. I'm not going to let the fans or the coaches get to me. I can't prevent a ball from hitting me. But, you know, other than that, hey, let's just roll with it and have fun, you know. And they look at me every time I say that, let's have fun after my play, and let's have fun, you know. No, what's that mean, have fun, you know?
I got to make this comment, Mark. I bet you when you called that looking strike, I bet you called that strike with the same energy as the first strike you called it.
Oh yeah. It was out here, you know, like that.
So it's energy, you're in control of that. So I had a feeling you probably called that strike with the same energy as the first strike you called, you know, 6 games earlier. And
you brought something up that kids picked up on that, because some of the guys they don't know my name, but they'll say, hey, Blue, you're a lot of fun, you know. And that's how it should be, because when I'm looking at them, I'm looking at when my sons were that age, and I realize how important it is. And I was talking to one of the dads between innings. He was keeping score, and I wanted their team to really win. But he says, hey, you know what? You know, I really appreciate you talking to the kids and trying to teach them and do the right things. And we often have a saying out there, respect the game. And I kiddingly told the coach, W's and L's don't matter now. That's high school and later on in life. But right now, teach them the right things out here. And how you handle pressure, you know, how you uplift one another. If an error's made, don't hang your head. It happens. If you strike out, you know. But I've seen some parents ridicule and go crazy on their kids. Some get physical. And sad. It's sad to watch that as I do older guys in their teenage years, and it really breaks my heart when I see that, you know.
Yep. No, it is. And it's just this whole, it's where I describe as a loss of power. You know, they're out of control beyond a situation that they can't deal with now. And they've, you know, given their power away to this situation that they're letting control their happiness and their emotions.
Right.
And that guy's pissed. You ruined his night. You know, maybe his week. You know, sometimes people hang on to this stuff. You know, maybe you're the reason his kid didn't get into, you know, Stanford or whatever he wants to.
Right.
You know, that those situations do that, and they can carry a pattern through someone's entire life. Or for that kid, he goes, kid that saw his dad react like that, what he takes out of it. And so, it's not just your own life, it's everyone around you too that is affected by it. I had a quick entrepreneurial story, big learning curve for me in my company. I was working this lot, and I had a sales team at this lot with 3 people, and my top sales guy, he was always, doing most of the cars, but he was like really annoying. He'd always piss everyone off. No one really wanted to work with him. He's always kind of pushing the lines of everything. So he comes to me one day and he's like, hey, I want to have a maternity leave. My wife's having a baby. I was like, sure. I was like, okay. I was like, how long you want off? He's like, 3 months. I was like, okay, yeah, you take that maternity leave. That is great. And so I did that to kind of get him out of the office. And what I learned was what a negative draw he was on the whole entire team. What a negative draw was with everything, because that next month, that lot was like a 35 car lot every month. We'd sell about 35 cars with 66% of the staff. The next month, we shattered all the records. We had 65 cars that next month.
Really?
With just 2 people on the lot. And we did it because they were so happy there to have that negative energy out of the office. They were happy to work. They were closing deals. The customers could feel the energy. And so you've got to look at that too. If you've got, you've got to be able to deal with those things in your life. You got to be able to deal with those things with your employees. Send them in my community. If you can't, I'll help you. But if you've got a bad seed in your company, that is disrupting the vibe of the team, you need to get rid of that person, because it's like cancer. It's to a team that can be positive and be successful. It hinders everyone's personal and business life, and it takes everyone else down with it.
I think that's a good point. Anybody in business, you have a team, set the tone with the energy, the right expectations, the right attitudes, the right positive energy, and set that culture. And sometimes you have to train them with how to do that, personal development or coaching or whatever the case. But it really starts, the way I see it in any organization, is what's the temperature of the leader?
Yep.
What's the temperature of that leader? And that all leaders have good days and bad days, but they don't let that trickle down to the floor, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You've got to show up as a leader, and that leader, that vibe, that presence, carries down in the company. If you show up and you're stressed out and you're, hard and you're this and that, then everyone, and some people do that, not saying, they can still build good companies, but like the employees don't like working for them. They want to leave, they're awkward, like they're out of there, and it doesn't create that supportive, work culture. And it's not anything that I want to be involved in.
Yeah. I think people, now I've read it many different times. People don't quit the job, but they quit on the people that lead them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That environment. Yeah. It's
well, yeah, and it's true. It's very true. And I, going through some of the hardest challenges in my career, I was in a point once, and this is this long story I normally tell, but I'll tell fast because you like to talk about overcoming challenges too on the show. But I was in a growth phase, so like growing the car dealerships would grow and level out and grow and level out and grow and level out. I was at a growth phase. I was leveraged. The company that was financing me got acquired, and long story, they called the no too. And so it trickled down this whole slew of problems, which ended up leading to me closing that lot. Now, at the time, that was something I had worked on. It was like my baby. It was it was like a one that I really, really liked. I put a lot of personal love and work into this location, the brand, everything. It was kind of like something I was kind of known by. And, so that going down, I had gone through that point in my entrepreneurial career where I had to look at myself, really separate out what had happened. Because the biggest thing that I had to learn is that because my business failed, I'm not a failure. And everyone who went through that last year needs to learn that and realize that, because people are sad, people are depressed, people are down, people are struggling, people got their place shut down, people got fired, people got whatever. And they need to know that they are not a failure. They are not a failure. Just whatever it was that you were doing failed. And that's a big difference, because you can change and you can do it again. And it might not be like exactly how you imagined it, but you can. And knowing you can is the first step down that path. And then, realizing it and doing it.
Hey, can I ask two quick questions? You mentioned the word failure. So with me, I always say fail your way to success. Like in baseball, that's what you do. You're failing your way to success. 1 for 3, 2 for 4, whatever the case may be. Now, since you brought something up as to, you touched on it, we're getting out of this COVID thing, and Tom and I exchanged information earlier this morning, but we were talking about it. There are some people that choose to sit on the sidelines, and we talked about this last week with our guest, and they are collecting a check or whatever from our illustrious government. I won't get into all that. And there are help wanted signs everywhere. I live in Peachtree Corner. There are people begging people to come back to work, But there are some that say, hey, why should I go back, man? I got this, I'm getting 600 a week or whatever it is. And, $15 an hour, $12 an hour, forget about it. I'm going to do this until they tell me I'm out of here. But obviously this is going to change. But where I'm going with this, in the workplace, what do you think needs to happen out there? And I'm not saying everybody, but those service-oriented type positions, jobs, what do you think needs to happen to bring that together? Where if you're having a pizza place or whatever you have, a sandwich shop, a restaurant, those smaller or mid-sized businesses, what has to take place?
Yeah, well, I saw Ted. He said no problem with redesigning your business too. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you have to redesign your business. Everyone's forced to redesign your business, so we didn't even have a choice. A lot of people, and I am incredibly against giving people money, because we are taking away the power of the people. And people are becoming dependent, they're becoming reliant, and that's dangerous, because when you give your personal power and your personal freedom away to someone else that you don't control it, then you're giving away a lot more than people realize today than that $600 check. And so I think that's a huge, huge, huge fear of mine for our future, which I hope changes. And I think that people also need to realize that there is opportunity out there. People need things. There's industry that needs help. There are jobs out there, and we can go create more than these. These handouts are limiting. These handouts are not, empowering. And people can go and do something, support a business, be a part of something, and live a life that's bigger than yourself. I look back at my car business and I go, okay, I could have ran a really simple car business. I could have bought and sold cars by myself, and I could have made a lot of money. I was doing it by myself, and I didn't have any expenses really. I didn't have any employees. It was easy. I was just like raking in cash, and it was like simple. But I grew because I had a bigger vision. I wanted to do something that's bigger than myself. I wanted to help my community. I wanted to help people. I wanted to provide opportunity for other people. And that's what the entrepreneurial dream is. That's what the American dream is, in my opinion. And that's what I think people need to light up and realize, that they can create something that's so much better than a handout, than a check, than a thing that's actually just holding you back and increasing debt. We're going to have to pay for this. Money doesn't, it comes from somewhere. So it's not like, you know, but besides all that, you know, we've got to be able to create this economy, because if we're not out there working, we're not creating the economy, there won't be an economy, and then you have to be reliant, and then all your life goes away. And so if you want to take a check, if you want to take a handout, and if you don't want to go back to work because you're getting money and the job doesn't pay you enough, you need to get back to work so that we can have an economy to build on, so that we can create cash flow naturally in the world, because it's a flow. It's a flow. It's like, you know, people think of it as like a have or a take or a give or, you know, whatever, but it's a flow, and you're either in it or you're out of it. You're part of it or you're not. You're buying, you're selling, and you're making money, you know, and that's a flow. It's a cycle. And maybe we don't have enough time for me to explain that, actually, to connect it. But you know, if you, the more money you make, the more money you spend, the more you can have, the more you can create. And you know, the less you have, the less power you have, the less control you have, the less you can create. And the more that you don't create, someone else creates it for you and they give it to you, the less power you're going to have in your life. And if the world runs like that, then the future is going to have less control and less power in their life. And that's just how it works. That's just like,
you said so much there. You said so much. I'm just going to respond to something too, seeing how we're just having this type of dialogue. Is, you know, Mark asked the question, you know, when people are just looking for a free check or a free ride, ultimately that's damaging their soul, their integrity, their self-image, because we know we have our nature is to be creative, and that will always haunt them at a psychological level, and it takes their, like you say, it takes their power away. It destroys that creativity.
Yep.
And I think when we see a culture that's just taking, we have a dying culture.
Right. Yeah.
We have a dying culture. So
absolutely.
Right.
I mean, if you're just takers, you know, someone has to be a creator. So whoever that creator is, if you are a taker, let's say, whatever, they're going to be the one that's in control of you. They're going to be the one that's in control of your life. And so, you know, what type of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life that you create, or do you just want to jump on the ride and see where you end up? Because I like to know where I'm going. I like to create my life. And because I've chosen to do that, it's been amazing. And I get to talk to incredible people like all of you. And I love it. But
I got a question for you. You know, but I tell you, time really flies. I don't know if you're on a hard stop or whatever, but share with you a little more detail about your Formula EQ. This is your new venture. This is your new vision, your new mission. Share with everybody specifically, you know, how they could be in touch with you, find out more about what you offer, plug into a community.
Yep.
Just go ahead and share a little bit.
Yeah, so absolutely. If anyone that's interested in coming to a community that is 100% about living in a positive mindset all the time, is you can join for free for a month. We won't charge you, and then it's month to month after that. It's under $25 a week, $99 a month. You can be in the community. We have a meeting every single week. Come if you're available. If you're not, we put the recordings up in a member area, so everyone's always got access to all the stuff. We give worksheets, we give support. We've got community chat in between, you know, during the week with positive messages and different things like that. And we're building more and more support. So this is kind of a new evolving thing that I just actually launched. But yeah, so anyone can go to formulaeq.com and check it out, or prestonslinks.com, and I've got a link in there for you can sign up for the first month for free, or at formulaeq.com right now. But what EQ is, so everyone knows IQ, intellectual intelligence, intellectual quotient, but EQ is emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. So we need to have IQ and EQ. Those things need to come together so you can comprehensively approach life. Because if you're not looking at it, if you're not aware of it, then you're missing something. And what I want to be is a mirror. So when I go get ready in the morning, I look at a mirror. I can't see myself, so I do the best I can. I'm not perfect. My hair is crazy, but I can't see. I can't see what I can't see. And so we need these mirrors around us in our life. And those mirrors are our community, our friends, our coaches, our mentors, those supports that we can put to make us live a better life, to make us be able to do what we want to do.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
So yeah, so anyone who wants to join, go to formulaeq.com, check it out. You can sign up for free, and then you can cancel anytime. I don't care if you come for free. Like, I want to help you. Like, you come for 3 weeks and then cancel it, and just get it for free. Because if it's not worth it in your life, I don't want you to pay me. But if it's something that you can't live without, and it's something that I can help to change and create massive change in your life today, then come try it. Join me, because you've got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to risk and everything to gain.
Yeah, it's great. Givers gain. I love that concept. What we put out comes back to us in ways we never even know.
Yep.
Give without expectation. Give without expectation. Mark, do you have any questions? I got one in closing for myself.
I was just going to say that what Preston's doing is the total opposite of a scenario. If you went to a psychiatrist and you talked with him for an hour, and he'd tell you, he'd get up and leave and say, eventually you'll figure it out. You're offering processes and procedures to help people grow and develop. So,
yep. So yeah, we give real tips. We give tools every single week. And so, people can kind of approach it at their own level, and come back and just live it. And they can stack up their tools, like their arsenal of weapons, in their back, so they can go and be warriors, like you're saying at the beginning of the day, and have that warrior attitude and go conquer and do whatever it is you're trying to do.
That's great.
In closing, what's the number one thing that holds people back from what they really desire in life?
Themselves. That's it. You're your biggest obstacle. And you're your biggest obstacle in your own life. And the more we can get out of our own way, the more we realize how amazing we are. And, so I talked about this a little bit on social media last week and did the lesson on this, but anyway, I worked with a youth group a little bit, and we had these people come dance, and everyone that danced in this group is called the Hip Hop Homies, and they have Down syndrome. Everyone in the group has Down syndrome, and they came in and they performed. And when they performed, what's so cool about this group is when they get up on stage, it's not that they're the most flawless dancers in the world. It's that they get up on stage and they dance like no one is watching. And everyone here, everyone in this chat, everyone watching this video, I would bet we all have a lot of reservations to be able to get up in front of a room of 200 people that we had there and dance to a song like no one is watching, all at your current dance skill levels.
You know what? That is a true picture of authenticity.
Yeah, and that's what it's so energy. It's getting out of the way of yourself. It's getting out of the way of yourself to be like that. And if you can do that, and you can do that in business, then you can show up unrestricted. You can show up amazing, because like you're saying, no one can get in your way. No one can scare you. No, you're not afraid of anyone. No one can put you down. No one can make you feel bad. No one can take that away from you because the power is inside of you. Yep, to operate, like, not care who's watching. Exactly. I did it in front. I'm not a singer at all. I talk like five or so times a week, and I went in front of a group and I sang a song, and then I did it, and then it's like, I'm just doing that to show you that I'm not afraid to get up in front of 100 people and sing, even though I don't know how to do it. Because I'm here to share a message and make a difference, and I care more about sharing the message than I do about what people think about me. And that's when your business is going to do something. That's when your business matters, is when you can dive into it and you can be so authentic and you can share so much that you don't care, because your message is what you connect, and your authentic self is what connects with everyone that's around you.
Yeah. It always goes that thing. People don't care what you do and how you do it. They care about why you do what you do.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's a lot of people that do great things, and who do you want to do business with?
Yeah.
You want to do business with people you like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I am complete. How about you, Mark? How about
yourself? I think the glass is full. My glass is overflowing. So
great.
Definitely. Good. You know, you really put a lot out there in this short time. You know, went by very quickly. So you're welcome to stay in the green room while Mark and I wrap it up. If you've got to push off, you know, that's fine too. So, right. But we're gonna take about probably like 5 minutes, Mark.
Yeah.
In our closing comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you have to go, Preston, that's okay. You know, we won't get mad at you.
I'll kick around. I'll check a couple of emails here and grab a Coke and kick around.
Okay.
All right, great.
All right.
Preston, it's an honor to have you on. Thank you very much for
taking time out of your day.
Thank you. Thank both of you for having me as a guest, and thank you for doing what you do and doing this show, because you're changing people's lives. You're making a difference. You're providing good content that's uplifting humanity. And that's my mission, is to make the world work for 100% humanity. And that's why, you know, I'm here today, and you guys are doing that mission with me, with all your work that you're doing. So I love it. So I appreciate both of you.
Thank you, Preston.
Yep. Thank you very much. Honor to have you on. So we're going to put you in the green room, my friend.
Okay, take care.
Enjoy the M&Ms, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Wow, I tell you what, you know, you can see why he has the success, the right frame of mind, the right wisdom. He's beyond his age in wisdom.
I think Mark Victor Hansen is in there somewhere, don't you think?
I would think some of that would have rubbed off somewhere. Yeah. I would think so.
Not that Preston isn't authentic. That's not what I'm saying. But being around and that type of individual can't hurt you, you know.
Yeah. And well, that I really appreciated Preston coming on, and you know, there's his information. You can reach out to him. But before I forget, I want to make sure everybody's aware of who's next Monday's guest is. You know who that is, Mark? Can you?
Oh my goodness, man! Next week, well, you know, I'm opening up, man. If you know anything about boxing, which I have studied a few, I'm really excited about this, and I'll probably be really promoting this. Not that we weren't excited for Preston, but Hector Colon, man, this guy, yeah, that's the CEO version, but there's another version to him, man, that he took out of a boxing ring and brought it to the forefront into the boardroom. And when I say that, there are guys still around like the ex-heavyweight champion, and I'll call him a champion, Larry Holmes, the Easton Assassin. These are good people. When you look at their life, what Preston was talking about, think about boxers, what they have to overcome in the ring, how they train, how they do everything, man. And you have got to have a positive mindset. I say this, hitting a baseball to me is probably the hardest thing, but that boxing thing, that's a dangerous business, man. And you got to know what you're doing in there, or you could get killed. I mean, and I can't wait to talk to Hector about this. I'm just going to let it drip out. I got to ask him if he's listening, think about this. Could you beat Sugar Ray Leonard? I don't know if you're in the same weight class, but Hector had some fast hands, and I checked out some old YouTube on him. He was good. I mean, not good,
but seven-time world champion,
yeah.
U.S. champion, amateur champion.
Yeah, and I can't wait for him to share with us, Tom, why he stepped out of the ring and what made him do it. I know he touched on it, but I just want to really know how did he struggle with that. We all go through struggles, and Hector's going to be a lot of fun, and probably throw some Muhammad Ali quotes at him, just for the heck of it.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man, and I can't wait to have him. So I want to make sure we get that out. Turn on your notifications. That's going to be a dynamic interview with Hector Colon. If you don't know who he is, Google him. That in itself will impress you
Right.
of this talented former boxer. So what else, Mark?
Well, Tom, tell me, what is the purpose of Elevate Your Profits? Like, you and I kind of met, and we were touching on some things today. What is the big thing about Elevate Your Profits? I mean, how are you trying to impact people through Elevate Your Profits? There's something you do. There's something you're helping me with, and we're trying to grow and develop together. Can you share some of that with us, or can I ask you a couple questions? Do you mind?
Yeah, we want to make sure that we keep them short here. My background's financial coaching and that, and I see people struggling financially in this world, and there's no reason for it. And one of the saving graces in my life has been the opportunity to be in business, to create a lifestyle, create something that very few people have. And I'm not doing that to impress, but impress upon, is that if you're struggling out there, you got to find ways to win and find mechanisms and find people and systems or whatever it is, because there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I'm just all about opportunity. So that's the premise of what I do, and what Mark and I are doing is we're helping give people options to help them win financially, and we'll get into those things at another time. But I know you had some questions posed for me, so see if I'm ready for you.
Okay. Well, here's a good one. If you're an entrepreneur or business owner, should they consider should they be concerned about rising taxes or health care? I mean, like, some people feel like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm bulletproof, I don't have to worry about that, I'm going to create my own destiny. Are these people financially sound? And I'm not making fun of entrepreneurs and business owners, but do you need to look at other options and multiple revenue streams, or do something else other than what you do? And I know you do. So why don't you elaborate on that?
To be concerned about taxes, yes. That's part of the overall economic flow of money in our culture and our society. Yes, be informed, know how to use the tax laws for your own benefit. I'm not opposed to paying taxes, but I don't want to pay more than my fair share. So tax is a big thing. You mentioned something about healthcare. There's a lot of things going on in our country that are hurting individuals and families financially in a big way. Taxes is going to be one. Inflation is another problem we're going to be seeing here in the near term. And then the cost of healthcare. And what Mark and I do is we show people how to solve some of those problems by being in business for themselves, take advantage of tax laws, find ways to save money. A prudent business person, their first thing is, how can we keep our costs and expenses low? You should be doing that in your personal life as well as in business. And the statistics say that most people are struggling financially. Like Thursday, I'm doing a seminar how to become a 3%er in this country. Only 3% of the American people have a net worth of over $1 million. Only 3%. No reason for that in our country.
But Tom, what about Social Security? Isn't that going to take care of people, that those of us that are boomers, aren't we going to be safe with that?
We all know the answer to that, Mark. There's an illusion out there. And if that's your only piece in life, it will be a tough one at the end. Plan today, put things in place today so that you can live the latter part of your life in some sense of ease. You get to control that. But so hopefully that answered your question.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned it. How can one truly build wealth in 2 to 3 years? And is it possible? And you say it is, but you and I have seen people, I'm not talking about people that we know, but they get on here on some of these social platforms and tell you no clients, no problem. No website, no problem, no money. To me, that's a problem. But it's just like point and click, join they're trying to get you on an emotional roller coaster, my free webinar, whatever. And that's not against Preston. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some people then, they take your money and they're gone. There are some things out there. And that's one of the things I want to stress. That's not what this is about. This is about working together as a unit, a team. There are some really cool and dynamic people that Tom has shared with me, and they're out there doing this every day.
You asked the question, can a person create wealth in a short period? The answer is yes. And we can go off into the answer is yes, but where the biggest problem people have is they don't believe they can do it. And so what I teach is in one of the things that I'm doing here is, how do you build $1 million asset? An asset, something is going to give you income without having $1 million.
Right.
And I've got a system, and I've got things we'll be sharing with people. How you can do that is create $1 million asset in 2 years that the income coming off of it is equivalent to have $1 million earning a 5 or 6% return. And yes, it can be done. So those that haven't planned in life, as we move closer to I've created a life I'm not retiring from, but as one moves to that phase, where's your money going to come from? You got to create it.
Right.
And we can show people how to create $1 million asset in 2 years or less. I'm being very conservative, how to do that. So you have that type of income. And that's wealth.
And so there you hear it from the man himself that's been in the financial arena. And all I'm going to say is, anybody out there listening, you know how to get a hold of me. You know how to get a hold of Tom. You can do it through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I don't care. You can even call me. If you want my cell number, I'll personally give it to you. I would love for you to call me, and we can talk about this.
Well, one last promo here. I have that up there. Thursday, it's a registration, 30-minute talk. I'm going to talk about some concepts about how to create $1 million asset. If that intrigues you, then we will take you to another step, explain how you can get involved with Mark and I to take advantage of those things that we'll be sharing. So there's the registration link. It's a bit.ly link, create million asset. And that's a registration for Thursday. That's going to be 6:30 Eastern, I believe. I'm just going off the top of my head. Right. All the details are there. You can register. It's a free, but we just like you to register. And it's just going to be about a 30 to 40-minute chat about some concepts. And if that intrigues you, then we can create a time to talk further. So that's all it is. Good quality information.
And Robert said it best, invest in you. That's what, when we were talking about Social Security, he said that's a joke and you need to invest in you, which, Robert, I totally agree, But there are some people that are under the illusion that, the Uncle Sam is going to take care of you. And I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, anything else, Mark?
I just want to say thank you for everybody. Again, I can't thank you enough for joining us and for sharing this out, because Tom and I both realize you don't have to be here, and we appreciate you. And we love you and totally respect what you're doing out there in the world. So that's all I have to say.
Well, we are done. So I'll go ahead and do the exit, end the broadcast. God bless everybody. It's with gratitude. Join us next week. Meet Hector Colon from the boxing ring to the boardroom. That story. Boom. Yeah. So we are signing out.